Hello everybody, I am your Chief of Wrestling, Craig Anderson, and you're listening to Dirt Sheet Mania, Episode 12. Hello everybody, I am your Chief of Wrestling, Craig Anderson. Welcome to Dirt Sheet Mania. This is episode number 12. I am here as always with the Director of Creativity. He creates so you can procrastinate. Kieran Smith. Hi Kieran.
Morning, Craig.
It's a morning episode of Dirt Sheet Mania.
It's far too early.
It's 20 past 11 a.m.
Far too early.
We normally do this at 11:22 p.m.
Normally, yeah.
Where I'm more tired and you're like, oh, it's middle of the day.
Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much run on American time.
You do.
This is crazy early.
I saw you tweet about Man United, about hoping United's games were on the evening.
Yeah.
Because you can't watch them.
That way I'd fall asleep early.
Because they're rubbish.
Because they're terrible. But yeah, so obviously this week's Superstar Shakeup.
Yes.
Obviously been quite looking forward to that. I still think I have a post-Mania hangover, sleepover, whatever it is.
I'm past it now, but I had yesterday off.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I was delighted. A little bit of me time. So, guys, there's been lots of coming and goings on both shows. A few extra cheeky NXT call-ups as well, even though they tried to claim one of these call-ups was from SmackDown this last week, which really infuriated me. If you go on WWE's Twitter account, I'll let you guess which one that was, Kieran. You went to Raw this last week.
Which one was that?
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, okay.
They said, and from SmackDown, and he was in the list of people from SmackDown.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
I was like, what, we in 2008?
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. So, anyway, we'll kick off with Raw. We've got a few things to talk about in our bridge segment, such as women on commentary. That's been a talking point the last few days. Well, me and Kieran will just, get into that a little bit. Both brands will be sharing pay-per-view time now, Backlash in 3 weeks' time.
Something like that.
Coming up.
The Greatest Royal Rumble first.
Which is 8 days before that.
So confusing.
9 days before that, because it's a Friday and it's Sunday. So even though they're all merging up, there's still a ton of pay-per-views and specials coming up on the network. And also, it is and it isn't wrestling related, but it does affect the world that we live in, I suppose, is the breakup of Cena and Nikki. I think we're talking about the memes more than anything, because there have been some absolutely barnstormers. Absolute barnstormers, such as John Cena going back to his planet, and he died on the way back to his planet.
Yeah.
Simpsons. Oh dear. What was that dog's name in Simpsons?
Poochie.
Poochie. Fantastic. We kick off with Monday Night Raw, and the modern day Maharaja is on Monday Night Raw. The United States champion is here, Kieran.
He is. He was United States champion.
Didn't last long.
Me and Craig put out a few picks from Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw on Twitter.
Yeah.
I did think they would have moved Jinder to. The problem with SmackDown, I think you'll see this with a lot of superstars coming over from SmackDown to Raw, is that because SmackDown is only 2 hours, they always seem to get lost in the shuffle. They never seem to be able to build storylines week to week. Over there on SmackDown. NXT weirdly can do it with only an hour show, but I suppose you get away with that because it's pre-recorded. You can time NXT for me a lot better, because some of the stuff, like you say, is pre-recorded. So you can have a quick 90-second backstage promo with Lars Sullivan getting all angry, and that can advance his storyline with whoever. Yeah. And that's it. You don't need to do anything more. But then SmackDown's very stop-start, and I think Jinder Mahal in the last 6 months, whatever, since he's lost the WWE title, he's done nothing really. He's been involved in this United States title triple threat fatal 4-way, but
mid-card Mania.
He looked like he was just thrown in there, to be honest.
Well, he was thrown in the deep end on Raw because he basically come out and told Kerr that he was the best on SmackDown, and now he's already the best on Raw simply from his presence. And Kerr went, okay, you can prove it then. You can defend your United States title right here, right now, against anyone in the locker room. And out comes the charismatic enigma, brother Nero himself, Jeff Hardy. And so Jeff's completely fine now. He's back in full-time WWE ring competition. And he opened the show with Jinder, and he won.
It's a good little match. There was a lot of people sort of say that Jinder can't wrestle and things like that.
He's a bit bulky.
Yeah.
He's not smooth.
No.
But that doesn't mean he's not bad.
But obviously, when you're going up against a veteran like Jeff Hardy, you're going to have a good match, or at least put a good TV match on.
Absolutely.
And he did, and he went with Jeff Hardy. At least he wasn't facing Randy Orton, I suppose. Again.
Oh God! I know you said originally on the Twitter machine that you thought where Randy went, Jinder would go. Yeah. And I was so happy that didn't happen.
Oh yeah. Because it was more of a joke. But
I felt that. So Samir is still with Jinder. His brother, whose name eludes me just this.
Sunil, isn't it?
Sunil and Samir, that's it. It's still not cleared.
Yeah.
I thought that maybe, now they're on Raw, there's a possibility that they could end up on 205 Live, which is ironic, because of SmackDown being the same time as 205 Live.
Yeah.
Because I tweeted that out as well, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. And I agree with that, because, there is rumours of a Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship coming. I'm not saying they'll be perfect, but they're a tag team, they're brothers. So
and they were in the Cruiserweight Classic as singles competitors.
But there's not really been a lot of cruiserweights on Raw.
No, it's more been like advert matches, really. They have tag matches building up to.
I think there's only been one since Triple H has taken it over. So
very rare, and it
is like 205 Live is like the fourth brand now. So.
No, absolutely, and it probably is after NXT as well. Now they have a GM.
Yeah,
I think that. No, I agree. Next debutants, we had Bayley versus Sasha Banks, putting on another match, but a very good match. I mean, we do remember some of the chemistry these two have, but from their NXT days, I don't think I've seen it as much on the main roster. Again, maybe time constraints, maybe. Again, you've got to be more, maybe different directions that the characters could take in NXT was a little bit more free than on the main roster. But they put on an extremely good match here. I loved it when it boiled down to basically slapping the piss out of each other.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this just got a little...
Very reminiscent of Kevin and Sammy and how they do their punches.
Yeah, where they kind of hold the back of each other's heads and they just wail on each other. Yeah, I have to do that with you sometime and just see.
Feel free to.
You won't last.
Might wake me up.
I'll do it in a minute. And then the Riot Squad.
The Riot Squad.
All three of them,
yeah.
Which is a huge acquisition. 3 women, like for just to appear like that, to add to the division.
Yeah,
it's huge. Okay, yeah, people go to SmackDown, but again, this is big acquisition.
See, in terms of storyline, the last couple of weeks I've been calling for, like, obviously since Paige has retired, I've been calling for someone to, like, in effect take over Absolution.
Yeah.
I thought maybe in this you could see like Sasha or Absolution coming down and Sasha joining down the beatdown of Bayley or something like that.
Like, you think it's going to be 2-on-2?
Yeah,
and then, But the Riot Squad are here. I like the fact that they've been moved to Raw, because like on SmackDown they have been getting a bit of spotlight, but again it's stop start, and hopefully on Raw with the extra hour and the extra time they can actually develop the squad and develop more Ruby Riot more than anything, because she could be a future women's champion. Well, once we get to the end of SmackDown as well, we see who's come and gone. I absolutely agree with you that I think Raw, there's more of a chance of anyone could be champ.
Yeah.
Whereas on SmackDown, while someone that you wouldn't think is champ, there's a massive scope for who could probably be champion in future.
Yeah.
So they're on Raw. So that's great. Also, another favourite of ours is you're wearing their T-shirt. Breezango are on Raw.
Yeah.
They've come to a new precinct to do their fashion.
Yeah.
And who did they give a ticket to? They gave the Bar a ticket, didn't they? They were not happy. They had a match later on, and they beat them. Breezango beat the Bar.
They did indeed.
The Bar do jobs for everyone.
Yeah,
but they did for Titus Worldwide like 3 times.
They do that, and this is the thing. The Bar have been so good over the last year or so that they can afford to lose these little, roll-up victories and roll-up losses. Sorry,
this was clean.
Yeah,
this wasn't even like.
But they can lose those sort of small little matches on Raw. It doesn't really matter,
because I thought to myself when I was watching this, I was already typing out Bar win.
Yeah.
And then Breezango won, and I sort of sat back and thought, okay, like you just said, if the Bar had won, what would that have done to Breezango?
Yeah.
They got demolished by the Bludgeon Brothers last time we saw them, I think, in a match on the SmackDown.
There seems to be on Raw, looking at everyone that has been traded, that it seems to be very... they seem to be focusing a lot more on depth in the tag team division on Raw, whereas on SmackDown you have bigger tag teams but not a lot of depth. So maybe they're trying to put a bit of stock into the tag team division on Raw.
If people are listening that watch football, or as we call it, the Americans it's called soccer, it's almost like having a soccer or football team, and you've got 50 million and you buy a squad of 20. that are evenly pretty good, which is Raw, or you buy 12 or 13, 14 that are all really, really good. But if someone goes down, you're a bit in trouble.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that, I think, if that's fair to kind of make that analogy. So, yeah, the bar did the job, but as we find out later, they're not around for very long. Someone else that's now on Raw is Natalya.
Yeah, I like this. I like this move over to Raw.
She's now a babyface, although I don't think this will last long.
It's very weird. There was no sort of rhyme or reason for her to suddenly turn babyface, but
she's there with Ronda. If you're there hugging and shaking Ronda's hand, you must be a babyface. Instantly babyfaced.
We know that they've had history. They used to train together, even when Ronda was doing in UFC.
Oh, as far back as that.
Natalya used to sort of get in and practice wrestling holds and that with her and things like that. Mm-hmm. So for Ronda's first main singles feud to have someone veteran like Natalya is absolutely perfect.
I don't think when you sit here and look at the women's division, I think it's a massive shame because I think Paige would have been fantastic. Potentially, Natalya is probably the first one. If they wanted her to squash someone, Alicia Fox, but I don't know if they get on very much.
I was quite surprised that Ronda was actually at Raw.
I'm glad. She has to be.
Yeah,
she has to be.
I thought maybe there'd be a few weeks gap. I know she's on the European tour for a bit.
They're pushing this. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. They're pushing this rivalry with Steph. It's not over.
Yeah.
It's not done. And maybe like on SmackDown when you've got we think Paige will maybe take more of a route with the ladies and Shane will take the men, in an unofficial official capacity. Maybe that same will kind of start happening on SmackDown with Stephanie with the women, but she does take a massive active spot and then crowd with the men.
Yeah, so, you can see Steph probably having the Riot Squad as like her lackeys, or so something just to
even Natty.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways that this can go forward, and quite looking forward to it.
I can already envisage Stephanie making Ronda face the gauntlet of the Riot Squad, and then Nat kind of going through.
I don't know if we'll see her wrestle on Raw.
I think we will.
I don't think you'll see it for a bit. I don't think
it will happen.
I don't think you'll see it in like the next 2 or 3 months.
No, it will. Before.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. I think her next match is at pay-per-view.
Her next match might be at a pay-per-view, but she will wrestle before when SummerSlam. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think she'll wrestle. She'll have a match at SummerSlam.
Before SummerSlam.
I don't think she'll have a match on Raw.
I think she will.
Okay,
we'll see.
Oh, well, I won the WrestleMania prediction contest. So.
Very well.
There's one thing about this segment that I did like. Sonya Deville, former MMA fighter, got in the ring and stood up to Ronda, which makes sense in terms of her character.
Let's not jump the gun because Natalya had a match.
Yeah.
With Mandy Rose.
Yes.
And she beat her, and then the beatdown ensued. But yes, eventually when Ronda made the save, you're right. Sonya stepped up, and like you say, they spoke on commentary about her MMA experience. Why not, eh?
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, there's a bit where Ronda started throwing a few sort of punches and that. You can see the speed and the quickness of the girl was ridiculous.
That takedown.
But the takedown was, I think it was some sort of judo takedown.
Well, it wasn't. Originally, I thought she kind of tried a clothesline or it was a spear. But when they did it in slow-mo, she literally just wraps her arms around her and just, like you say, tosses her to the floor and ends up on top of her. Yeah. I was like, it's just so fast.
I mean, I like the Sonya Deville thing coming in, but maybe in some way we could have had her, safely do an MMA thing. Like, literally, maybe let Sonya get a dig in, but Ronda's obviously so quick that you can, she gets in and takes her down.
Yeah.
It just looked like the Sonya stood there.
Because we know what we know now after SmackDown, thinking along the lines of you of like who could be the new leader of Absolution and thinking they probably need some new music as well. They can't keep using
they
Paige's.
come out to Paige's music on Raw as well. So.
Unless Paige has new music, of course. I mean, we haven't really potentially discussed that, but whenever you hear that scream, you instantly think of Paige.
Oh, yeah.
Before we know what happens on SmackDown, I thought maybe Natty could be playing a little bit of, bluff, call your bluff sort of thing, and she could be the new leader of Absolution. But like I say, we know what happens on SmackDown, which we'll talk about very briefly. Next thing I want to talk about is Dolph Ziggler. He's on Monday Night Raw as well now, and he was telling the crowd about he steals the show. It's another Dolph Ziggler promo that he says a lot and he doesn't really do much. But then Titus Worldwide come out. So I'm thinking, okay, could we see Dolph in a group? You know, Titus Worldwide. Is it a step down? I don't know. Now Dolph's not really that high on the old spectrum anymore these days. He is a former 2-time world champion. Money in the Bank winner. You know, if you look at what he's done a fair bit. But
he's literally done it all, except for probably with the Royal Rumble. I think that's like
multi-time Intercontinental champion, multi-time United States champion, tag champion, Spirit Squad. If you're gonna, so he's a Grand Slam winner.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah, how weird is that?
There's a lot of them lately. There seems to be a lot that have been crowned Grand Slam champions in the last couple of months. So.
You know, you look back and you look like someone like Stone Cold was like a 4 or 5 time WWF champion or 6-time. I don't think it's like a 5-time. Yeah. And then you look at someone like, you know, Dolph Ziggler's 2, and I don't know. It's people are, because of the brand split now. Titles mean less.
Yeah. They do.
Than they used to. And he's not. But you know what I wasn't expecting is Dolph Ziggler to say he's not alone, and then Drew McIntyre. Last time we saw him was in a match against Cien Almas on NXT. Got absolutely dumped out of it by the Undisputed Era.
I popped for this.
Me too.
I weren't expecting it, and you know, ever since Drew's come back on, you know, on NXT, he just looks legit. He looks like he legit could beat you up, and you know, from his previous time here, he just looked like a young man that was like, you know, a deer in headlights sort of thing at times. But
he looks really ready for
this. And the Claymore kick into the zigzag as a finish. It looked wonderful and
delicious. Is that it's called the Claymore kick?
I think that's what they call it. The Claymore
just
kick.
Beautiful.
So it looks like they're going to be a tag team going forward, which
that looked practiced to an extent because it looked very smooth.
See, they could be a tag team. It could be a Shawn Michaels Diesel sort of thing, whereas like Drew's acting as a bodyguard for Dolph. Mm-hmm. And then that ends up in a turn in a year's time or whatever.
In time, I think that might be happening.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you look at Drew, and to me, I still think he can be world champion. Even on the main roster, he looks world champion material.
I've worked with him, and he's a monster. Like I'm very, very little.
He's legit like 6'5", 6'6",
he's huge.
You know,
he's like 2 of me.
Yeah, so
he's massive. There's a profile picture I have, and I'm raising his hand, and someone's commented underneath going, "You're so tiny," and he's huge.
So now Drew McIntyre is on Raw and Jinder Mahal is on Raw and Heath Slater is on Raw.
I'm just one man.
Jinder has said
they're not going to do it. A backstage segment.
But there'll be a backstage segment where they just look at each other.
How are you doing?
And everyone's just going to nod.
Yeah.
So we need Heath Slater to be a world champion at some point.
Oh my God.
Push Heath Slater.
Push Heath Slater. He's getting dumped by AOP later, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, another person that is now on Monday Night Raw is another big guy. I think you call this as well, Baron Corbin. He's on Raw. Never been on Raw. Like, that's kind of odd to find now.
See, that is very weird. There's a few there's a few that haven't been on SmackDown.
Oh, the way we talk about it, there's a couple that have been on SmackDown.
It's very weird. We're in that time where, you know, because everyone used to go to Raw. You'd be on Raw every week, no matter what. Mm-hmm. And, you know, because obviously it wasn't a brand split. Even during the brand split, you sort of ended up on Raw at one point.
Do you remember Raw's...
Raw Super Show, yeah.
And it had the blue of SmackDown.
I think if you watch WWE from the vault after Raw and SmackDown, you always see, like, 2012, 2nd of January 2012, Daniel Bryan versus Cody Rhodes. You know, where Bryan's literally just become world champion and he's starting to do his yes. And Cody Rhodes.
I was only cashed in.
Yeah,
on Big Show.
A couple of weeks after he cashed in. But it's crazy how he hasn't been on Raw.
So it's new, it's fresh.
Well, technically he was on Raw during Under Siege, I suppose. But in terms of you know,
I mean, he was never in the. Well, he was. Well, yeah, but like as far as having a match, being a main player.
Yeah.
I don't know whether he's going to go towards the top of the tree, but I can definitely see him around the Intercontinental title picture. But again, that's under the hands of Seth Rollins right now, and you know whether Finn is involved. Finn's not on the show tonight. Oh no, he is in the main event.
In the main event, yeah.
But him, you know, where they go with that? Because at the moment, whoever the Intercontinental champion is basically your main world champion.
With Brock.
I hate it so much.
Yes,
not Seth as Intercontinental champion. I love that, but I don't like that Brock is not around. It's just crap.
The thing is, if Brock done that for 3-4 months, you probably wouldn't mind as much. But now because it's been over a year,
like when Rock did it. Or when Goldberg did it, because it was like a tiny bit. But then, Anyway, we can get really cross with that. But Corbin's there. That's pretty cool. Miz TV, Miz and the Miztourage are out, and he's told he's got an exclusive new additions to Monday Night Raw. There's 2 chairs there. It's a team. It could be a man and a woman. It's Kevin and Sami.
Yeah.
And, okay, I'm sat there. I'm thinking, why? How? I'm sort of instantly in my head, I'm thinking, how could they be here? They drew their match. Curtis told them more than once, don't have a job on Monday Night Raw. Corey is apoplectic on commentary. They're not supposed to be here. They've got their P45s. And then as it's kind of the segment goes on and on, I'm thinking, I know where I can see where this is going to go. I can see this. And eventually Kurt comes out, and then Sami gets his reading glasses out.
Yeah, which is so funny. It was such like an old man.
Just the way he got Miz to kind of like hold the mic towards my face. Like he couldn't hold the mic and hold the piece of paper at once. And then, of course, Sami and Kevin announced that Stephanie McMahon had gone over Kurt's head and signed them to Monday Night Raw. So again, nice way to Steph to keep even more heat on top of her and Kevin and Sami to be acquisitions of Raw. You thought they'd be split up?
Yeah, there was a possibility. I thought they could get split up. Obviously, I didn't see it going down like this. How they were a bit in the ring and together. I thought possibly because they almost looked like they've split up a few times, come back
twice.
Together.
They've had a match
now. So Kevin. I thought Kevin may go to Raw
to 305 Live.
Sami would go on SmackDown. Just split them up, keep them apart because it keeps things fresh. Because I can see these two having, a WWE title match
since NXT
at a big show, maybe WrestleMania at some point in the future.
Since NXT, and then NXT to Raw to SmackDown, back to Raw. They have followed each other.
Yeah.
Kevin got to Raw a tiny bit before Sami.
Yeah.
But they've literally gone from show to show together.
Yeah, I just think maybe a year apart, maybe
more.
Yeah,
maybe more.
I think I won't get bored of seeing these two fight
or be a team.
Yeah,
because they're funny.
Yeah, and they are. I don't know. I like that they're back. I like the storyline reasons given why they're back. I understand and I get.
We get a little spoiler from Kurt. He tells us that we won't. Because Miz is saying that Kevin, Sami, Miztourage and Miz are going to be a super group. It's going to be bigger than the NWO. And I'm just thinking, actually, that would be alright. I wouldn't mind this. Like, it'd be nice to have a big heel group to kind of, maybe one of them will be world champion.
We've been calling for a big sort of group.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple in NXT, but there's not so much. Like Undisputed Era, Sanity, but there's not so much on the main roster. You've got lots of tag teams, lots of tag teams now, but not so many kind of like groups. So I was thinking this would be pretty cool. And then Kurt says to them, he goes, well, enjoy it while it lasts, because it's something that's it's not going to be around for long, or it's going to be the only night. And then kind of everyone in the arena slowly you can feel them catching on, like one at a time. And then Miz is like, okay, fine. Well, Mr. Raj and me will go to SmackDown and we'll be awesome. He's like, nah. Not them, just you. So just Miz is going to SmackDown. I'm really surprised they decided to go their separate ways.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I hope...
Because Daniel Bryan called in it.
Yeah.
Apparently got some balls still.
Yeah, it's only a couple of weeks after he stopped being general manager. So I can get that. You can sort of say... Oh, yeah. I know you don't like the fact that Lana basically makes matches
Don't even... No, when we come to the do our great Royal Rumble, whatever it's called... we'll talk about that, but it genuinely infuriates me.
But Daniel Bryan, obviously,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
He's
mates with Shane.
Yeah, he's just tagged with Shane and he says, "I'm going to step down as general manager, but can I, please try and get Miz over because I want to punch him in the face." And we've been waiting for this for a while because we've been waiting.
A while.
We're waiting to see
about
where.
2 years.
Well, yeah, it's been that.
since Talking Smack.
Yeah.
Before he left SmackDown in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're finally going to get Miz versus Daniel Bryan, which is weird because I never thought any of us would say, really looking forward to seeing the Miz versus Daniel Bryan. Never in a million years will I'd say that. But because of the storyline and how good Miz has been over the last couple of years, and obviously, Daniel Bryan's just like...
Daniel Bryan.
He's Daniel Bryan. It's going to be great. I hope they don't rush it too much. I see Miz getting... not a new version of Miztourage, but he'll get some sort of lackey to help him out on SmackDown.
We'll get to that in a minute because you've got a nice little theory about that. But Okay.
So yeah, no, but I hope the Miz to Raj, I hope Curtis Axel, I hope Bo Dallas, if they stay a tag team, I hope them two still get a credible push, because
they could easily get lost.
They can easily get lost, but being associated with the Miz has pushed them up. It's elevated them. But
hopefully they get new music as well now.
Yeah. They just need to become a tag team, focus on just them being a tag team, keep that tag division built, give them a few victories here and there. I don't not say they're going to be tag champs, because I think there's a lot of tag teams on Raw that probably above them in the pecking order.
Maybe they're joining titles worldwide.
Yeah, that's probably what they'll do.
Stupider things have happened.
Yeah.
So we also do find out that Miz's last match on Raw will be involved in a 10-man tag. We'll talk about that right now, because we might as well. There's a 10-man tag. It will be the Miz, Taraj, Miz, Kevin, and Sammy versus the team of Bobby Lashley, Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and we find out later on in the main event, the newest member of Monday Night Raw, Bobby Roode.
I'm not disappointed with Bobby Roode going to Raw again, first time on Raw.
Hard to find.
Yeah.
Hard to find.
I'm not bothered. I think it works. It freshens things up. I can understand. Bobby's 40. He's not really got long left in terms of wrestling. You know, at that high level, he's 40. Yeah.
Christ.
But as the last pick of the night, I was expecting maybe someone bigger.
I'll say this much. I'm a little worried, and I'm worried because his entrance. Okay, let's say now he's a good wrestler.
Yeah,
he's a very good wrestler. He's not NXT champion for nothing. He was the great heel, which I think he desperately needs to go back to being a heel.
Yeah, he does.
Desperately.
He does.
Because as a babyface, when he was doing, because he got the nice shiny comeback spot in that 10-man tag, and they were crickets.
Yeah,
I watched that and I couldn't. I was like, what are we? What are we doing now? And it was so quiet. And yet those same people, Kieran, were just glorious. They were loving his entrance.
See, I agree with you, but I think we know what it's like sitting there for 3 hours on Raw.
We do. No, I know.
We're vociferous and everything like that.
No, I know, but I'm just...
you can get up for a glorious, but you can't get up for a spot in the ring because you're just like, oh, this is far too much too now. But
so it can... But for me...
You're right, he needs to turn heel. He needs to go back to NXT gimmick where he was like, he was just money, he was power, he had a suit in a limo and everything like that. He needs to go back to that. We may see that on Raw.
Glorious is
more time to develop it.
As much as it's an extremely catchy thing, which originally was going to be Nakamura's theme tune. Yeah. Can you imagine that? His whole gimmick is arrogance, cocky. I'm Bobby Roode. I'm richer than you. Do that.
I still think the Glorious theme tune can work to a degree, but I think they need to maybe change it up and not be
slow it down.
Yeah, slow it down, maybe a bit edgier, but they don't need this all exuberance like Christian opera vocal sort of thing. They don't need that. I think they just need to tone it down with the Glorious thing, or maybe just give him new music after turning him heel one day. Just go right.
But the Glorious thing did make his gimmick in, so
yeah,
gently
you can get rid of that. And if he, in 2 years' time he's still around and you want to turn him babyface again, then you're going to get the big massive pop of Glorious, and everyone's going to love it.
Right.
So
bigger picture. We also have we have the finals of the tag finals. Who will face the Bar?
The tag team eliminator.
Thank you, Kieran. I was literally going to use my headset. Who will face the Bar at the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2 weeks?
Yes.
2 weeks Friday, or is it a week Friday?
A week from Friday.
So it's not 2 weeks, is it? That's a ropey 2 weeks. That's a week and 5 days, boys.
Yeah.
It's not like a Sunday where it's on a Monday. It's like, 2 weeks time. It's like it's a week and 6 days, but never mind. You can't put a week and 6 days on that trunk, can you? No. It's a bit crap. The Deleter of Worlds, or the Eater of... No, the Deleter of Worlds.
The Deleter of Worlds.
That is their tag team name.
That is their tag team.
The Bray Wyatt. It's almost like Hell and Heaven.
Yeah.
Like Shawn and Undertaker at 24, 25?
25.
Get confused. Yeah. WrestleMania quiz is out now. I don't do very well. I don't do very well at any of these.
Yeah. You just suck at anything WrestleMania related, don't you?
And wrestling, I don't know what mine. Get Jamie in. Let's have a Superstar Shakeup. And they faced the Revival. And instantly I'm thinking, well, you don't even need to show me the finish of this match. I can tell who's going to win. Yeah. And it was Matt and Bray. And
so they will face the Bar at the Greatest Royal Rumble. for the Raw tag team titles.
Now, not to be one for telling you foreshadows, but some tag team in this little match goes to SmackDown in about 5 minutes.
This is the problem with them doing the draft.
The bar are on SmackDown, Kieran.
A couple of weeks ago we talked about them possibly doing the draft show at Backlash. That's when they should have done it. They should have still had, like they have the picks and say, right, we've got a Raw and a SmackDown superstar, but if for the Intercontinental title, it's whoever the Intercontinental champion stays on Raw.
Here's an idea. Now it would be sort of WWE wouldn't they could they don't steal ideas, but they have an idea that someone already has, and then they can change it around. If you'd have Backlash as the draft show, a little company called PWG Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, who I love, I've got plenty of their DVDs. They have a pay-per-view once a year called Mystery Vortex. Now it sells out like hotcakes because it's PWG. Mystery Vortex. You don't know any of the matches. You don't know any of the wrestlers. Okay? Why can't you do something a little bit like that?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be too specific.
People would tune in, even if you just said draft show. People are going to turn up.
You don't have to announce a match. You just say, this is going to be a draft. You know, you could hype it like crazy. You know, but surely hyping up, we don't know what's going to happen. There's no matches announced.
Yeah.
The intrigue, the interest, I would watch because I'd be interested to see what's going to happen. So the bar are on SmackDown, but they're going to face the leader of worlds at the Greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I mean, this is so obvious. Like, why would you do it? Angry, Kieran.
Yep.
Angry. AOP versus Slater and Rhino in a rematch. It was almost exactly the same as last week.
Yeah, this is what Authors of Pain will do for a couple of weeks just to establish themselves on the main roster.
But Rhino had a good showing.
Yeah, I think
he's about as big as them, really, in size-wise.
Yeah.
We did find out a couple of things about them. One of the members of AOP used to be in Bellator, which was where Bobby Lashley used to come from.
That's where Jack Swagger currently is, I think, as well.
There you go. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know if they've crossed paths down the line, I don't know. And one of them turned down Olympic wrestling for pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Can you imagine facing one of them in the heavyweight division on a mat?
Nah, fuck that. Excuse my language.
Kids listen to this. I know kids listen to this. He said a naughty words, boys. Don't listen to what he said.
We can get away with one or two.
Ish. Mickey James, Ember Moon. This is billed also as Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss on comms. Nia shows up. And then Alexa Bliss is shown in a very small, very obviously pre-recorded backstage segment where Michael Cole asks her a question, and then she has one long answer, and then it ends. Yeah. So it's obviously just press play when you need her to. I don't know why this bothered me so much. Maybe I've just been dragged in like a mark, but you know, with Alexa saying, "Oh, Nia is a bully," and I don't like. I'm just like, are you for real? Yeah. Is this the angle they're going with now? She has spikes on her shoulder, and she is telling us that Nia is a bully. After fat shaming her for a month.
This is the problem with Nia winning the title at Mania. Now we agreed that it made sense. Nia needed to win.
She had to win. Yeah. She had to win.
But this is the bit now where I think maybe they could have dragged this out maybe a little bit longer and have Nia win in a month, 2 months time, Extreme Rules or something like that, and then you get the big comeuppance, and then you go into this. This almost seems from Alexa's point of view far too quick to turn the bully, because she was always going to do that because that's her character. She's going to turn it over onto someone else, but it just seems too quick. Look, these two will face each other at Backlash and rematch probably. I don't think that's been announced, but it's more than likely.
It can't happen at the Greatest Royal
Rumble.
No women are allowed on that show.
So, yeah, it's a little bit controversial, but I think it'll be fine. As long as they maintain the fact that this is about body shaming against Nia, and Nia's like standing up for herself and standing up for
what is obvious is that
like-minded women and everything like that.
I completely agree. As much as that is as well, it's almost like Nia has an ally in Ember Moon. Yeah. Mickey James first Ember Moon in one-on-one contest. I'm going to cut straight to it. Mickey sold that finish like The Rock selling a stunner. Yeah. Oh my lord! I thought she was going to fall out of the ring. Yeah. She literally went 3/4 of the way across that 20-foot ring.
And that's good to have Mickey James on Raw, because she's again, veteran talent.
You need someone there. We've lost Paige.
Yeah.
I'm talking like she's died.
Yeah,
we've lost Paige as a wrestler.
The thing is, you think about
it. No, you've got Natty now. Alicia Fox.
Who does SmackDown really have?
Alicia Fox is still there. Well, I mean, we'll talk about that. They've got Ruby Riott.
She's on
Raw now.
There's no veteran hold your hand talent,
Charlotte?
Probably Charlotte now these days.
Well, yeah, Charlotte. She's. I mean, Asuka's now there. So.
Yeah,
but we'll talk about that in a minute. They're in trouble again.
I don't think so. I think it's quite a stacked roster, women's roster on each show now, to be honest.
Last little tidbit we're going to talk. Last little tidbit we'll talk about is Roman Reigns. He again. Okay, so I want to very quickly talk about this. Then we're talking to the bridge about Roman Reigns. So there's a lot of people that will still boo Roman, but over this Brock storyline, it's worked on me. It's probably supposed to work on everybody. I don't know why people are still booing him. Roman comes out and says he wants to be a full-time champion, which is probably an element of truth.
Yeah.
That's what sells storylines these days. Some truth with a little bit of fiction thrown in for good.
Especially
measure.
this whole storyline with Roman. It's been very behind the curtain.
Yeah, absolutely. Brock's Vince's boy, things like that. And I'm now to the impression that I want Roman Reigns as my champion. Or maybe I just want someone not Brock Lesnar as my champion.
Yeah. I look, this the whole Brock holding the title for over a year.
It is. He won it against Lesnar, against Goldberg
at Mania. Holding it for a year, not defending it much, not being on every single Raw. It's annoying, and like I'm saying, it does make the Intercontinental Champion basically the number one title on Raw, which for the Intercontinental title is really good. But I get what you're saying when it comes to Roman. Trying to get him to like him. I think the unfortunate thing is that, like for me, I like Roman. Mm-hmm. I don't dislike him, but it was the same as Cena. I was never a massive fan of Cena, but I didn't dislike Cena because it was a respect.
With him, I went through. Yeah, no, absolutely. I went through stages of loving him, wishing he'd put talent over, but still not minding him, really liking him, quite hating him, and
there's things about Roman Reigns that annoy me. We talked about it before, like when someone goes for a finish on Roman Reigns and he stands up, does a Superman punch, and they both do a double down. That annoys me. Just take the finish. Just take it. Kick out 2.5. Kick out
2.5. Yeah. So Samoa Joe interrupts him,
and this is the problem.
Again,
Samoa Joe comes out. Samoa Joe, the fans, especially the hardcore fans, are gonna love Samoa Joe. Yeah, exactly. The Joe. I'm not being funny. Even if the most vocal part of the crowd is saying Joe, everyone else is going to join in because it's short, it's sweet, fun. It's catchy, it's fun.
It's like telling Kurt he sucks. It's like telling Cena, John Cena sucks. Yeah. A lot of people now don't think John Cena sucks. A lot of people never thought Kurt Angle sucked. It's just catchy. It's singing along. Telling Cena he sucks and telling Kurt he sucks is a term of endearment now, and it is almost like it's crowd interaction, which the WWE obviously love and thrive on. Any crowd interaction is like glorious. Yeah. Everything that you can get the crowd involved. Like No Chance in Hell, they sing along to that as well when Vince comes out.
There's always been a theory, there's been a cross section of obviously Cena's got his people that love him and people that hate him. That Cena never really faced a true bona fide heel. Like, he faced Edge. Edge was never a true bona fide heel.
Even when he was with Vicky Guerrero and...
people loved Orton. People loved...
Did you like Orton when he RKO'd Stephanie and he kissed her on the cheek?
Yeah.
I kind of did because it was It was
people seem to sort of side with the heels these days because they like the edgier characters. The baby
Some
faces
people just like the bad guy. Yeah. There's nothing you can do sometimes.
Yeah. The only baby faces that seem to get liked these days are the ones at the indie darlings and
AJ Styles.
Put on good matches.
AJ Styles.
Yeah, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Finn Balor.
Before he turned Nakamura.
Yeah.
Isn't that Finn and Seth?
That's the type. There's no one likes the true American hero babyface, the Hulk Hogan, the Cena, the Roman. They don't like that anymore.
That's dead. That's dead.
They tried making Roman a bit more edgier throughout this whole thing, and I can see what they're doing. I probably have.
He says the B word a lot.
Yeah,
like a lot.
It's overused. Like that needs to be.
Yeah.
Not used as
especially
much.
When
it's like the blood Roman getting blood at Mania.
Rare.
That was very rare, but it was.
Last time we saw that was Randy Orton.
Yeah.
With Brock Lesnar.
But because it's so rare, you're like, oh, bloody hell, Jesus.
Is he all right?
Yeah.
You know,
like, you actually think, but
so again, we want to wrap this up before, but anyway, Samoa Joe does end up having a right go at Roman, saying every time you host Brock Lesnar, you fail. Every time you do, what happens? You know, this, that. I have a bone to pick with you, Samoa Joe. Last time you faced Brock Lesnar in a one-on-one match, which we just talked about, we think is Great Balls of Fire.
Yeah.
Guess what? Samoa Joe lost.
Yeah.
Why does Roman just bring that up? Like, just bring it up, Roman. Go on the network. Have a look at Wikipedia.
Roman's been punched in the head a few times lately.
Clearly. Maybe you need... Oh, I don't know, mate.
This story, like, the heel doesn't want to...
The babyface doesn't want to have to lower to the heels.
Exactly.
But like you said, they are chanting Joe. They love Joe. And he will face Roman at Backlash, possibly for the Undisputed title. Sorry, for the Universal title.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Joe's in the Intercontinental title match at Greatest Royal Rumble as well, so potentially he could bring two over, because as you know, we'll talk about, he has been traded to SmackDown, but he could bring 2 titles. He
could be a unified champion on SmackDown with Raw belts.
Yeah.
That's booking for you in 2018.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to talk a little bridge segment now. We're going to talk about women on commentary. We're going to talk about John Cena, Nikki Bella breaking up, and your favourite memes. We'll also be talking about the pay-per-views now. They're all going to be co-branded. I do wish they'd stop going, oh, they're going to be co-branded for the first time.
Stop with the singing promo.
The singing promo?
Have you not seen it?
Oh my God. Where they're all mimicking them. Yeah.
Just shoot me now.
Is that when Carmella needs a drink of water?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
Bridge! Coming up next. Nikki Bella and John Cena have split up very publicly, and I don't think you could have done it secretly. If you're going to do it, you're going to have to. It's okay. First and foremost, there's a lot of funny stuff out there. We should say that the memes are outstanding. What was one you talked about? You can't see me. I've been here the whole time, but
yeah.
She just can't see me.
Exactly. And the thing is, with like emotional things and bad things that happen, like us British way of how to cope.
Yeah.
It's to laugh.
It's to laugh.
So it's just how we deal with it.
It's a defence mechanism. Yeah. It might not be right. I'm not saying
that's what we do. We laugh about it. You know.
We will say though, it would appear, again, we don't absolutely have a Scooby-Doo what's happened, but if we're in their shoes from what we can see, maybe John Cena's upset, we don't know. But I would imagine that Nikki's probably quite sad.
See, the stories come out of Nikki Bella being heartbroken. Of course she's going to be heartbroken. It's just like, she's a normal person too. We're normal. If we got dumped, we'd be heartbroken.
It's almost under the
just
assumption,
because she's special doesn't mean she gets all the heartbroken, all the love and attention because she's heartbroken. It's stupid.
Millions of followers on social media. It
she
sucks.
Go get a man the next day. Us two were ugly. It's harder to get someone. Jesus.
I can't even concentrate. Oh, I feel for her because unfortunately she's been led down a merry path of nonsense for the last 6 years. She's been thing is though, John Cena can't really turn. I mean, he should never have proposed at WrestleMania last year. Never. Absolutely never should have done
WrestleMania moments deleted from record. Oh. Chris Benoit. John Cena.
That's like what a hit list. Never talk about Macho Man. Never talk about Chris Benoit. And never talk about John Cena proposing to Nikki Bella. Yeah. What a list. What a triple threat tag team they make.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, yeah, that's in history forever.
Yeah.
That the whole storyline was built on that. And a year later, like literally 2 weeks after Mania 34, they're not together.
Yeah.
They were sat. I saw a clip the other day from the Hall of Fame. They were sat next to each other at Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And now,
well, obviously they're in the eye of the public and everything like that.
Yeah.
So they're going to sit there and make sure, because most celebrity couples, you don't know what's going on if they're having a bad,
you don't know what's happening sometimes with their mum and dad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
one of the things. So John Cena's fans. So men hate John Cena.
Yes.
Women and kids love John Cena.
Yes.
On average. Yeah.
That is the general consensus, yeah.
So now let's think about this when he comes back. Women will now hate John Cena for leading Nikki Bella. Kids, they still love
They
him.
won't care.
Men are going to absolutely love him.
He's basically been the luckiest man on earth.
This is the heel turn we've been waiting for.
He's done it. If any
John
of you
Cena's going to turn into the Godfather. He's going to walk around with just, the hose on his side.
If we see a segment 1 week of him hitting on Brie Bella, I will absolutely pop for England. We were even just last week. We were hearing rumours that they wanted Nikki and John to face Brie and Brian somewhere.
Yeah,
can't happen now, can it? Still waiting for that Dolph Ziggler cash in.
Yeah, he's here to show the world.
It's a good time, Dolph. Yeah. It's a good time, mate. Get your briefcase. British humour at its finest. It
is sad.
It is sad.
It's obviously big news.
And she's been made to look like a mug. Yeah. After he was honest with her for such a long time, saying I don't want kids, don't want marriage, she accepted that. She didn't have to accept that. He then proposed, so she's thinking he's actually changing, and we didn't know at the time whether it was storyline, whether it was real, and we I don't really think we still don't know.
There's a lot of obviously things that come from this. Like Total Bellas may not end up carrying on after this because I don't think Nikki.
He was a draw.
Yeah.
And a lot of it happened at his house.
Yeah.
John Cena Raw 417. No shoes at the dinner table.
So, look, it is sad. There's a lot of things, but at the end of the day...
Total Divas will be fine, but Total Bellas might be...
couples split up all the time. It's news.
They do. They do. We've both been there.
Who cares?
Well, yeah, I didn't want to talk about this, but...
It's big news.
It is news in the world of wrestling. Another part of news in the world of wrestling is that going forward from Backlash, we will be having... joint pay-per-views between Raw and SmackDown. Now, I would want them to desperately stop saying it's the first time ever. I desperately want them to stop and say, "Oh, look, it's the first." It's not. It happened forever until a few years ago. It's happened 4 times a year, anyway, with your big four pay-per-views. Yeah. And as much as I don't like the words they're using, the terminology they're using, I just think this is a bad idea.
There's pros and cons to this for me. When they were separated, and it was mostly the SmackDown side of things. When it was a SmackDown pay-per-view, the card wasn't the best. It didn't look like there was a full 3 hours that you could get out of it. On Raw, you're always going to get that because you've got 3 hours every week. Every week they do a 3-hour show, so you're going to get a 3-hour pay-per-view out of it.
It's nothing different for them.
We were talking about Great Balls of Fire.
I think it'll be 5 hours.
I think there was one pay-per-view that Raw had a triple threat. I think it might have been Great Balls of Fire, but Joe faced Brock at another pay. It's one of them anyway. But they still had a great pay-per-view on Great Balls of Fire, even though they had 4 big participants in the main event. Okay. You couldn't do that on SmackDown.
No.
And this is probably more of a problem, SmackDown not having a deep enough roster, because they think, well, it's only a 2-hour show, so we don't need a deep enough roster. Pretty sure when they originally done the brand split, Raw got 3 picks, SmackDown got 2. That's how they done it.
That's how they did it, and they had to think of a way. See, for me, the pros, that we only have 12 pay-per-views now. A pay-per-view every 2 or 3 weeks, again, it diminishes pay-per-views.
Yeah.
One a month is fine. It makes them more special. You look forward to them more.
See, that's the pro for me.
That's the pro.
Because
that's a good
having
thing.
A pay-per-view every 2 weeks, technically, that's because that Fastlane Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania, they all come at once.
It was very quick,
and it didn't feel special.
With
now it will feel special.
It will. The bad thing is people like you're wearing it. I'll use the analysis again of someone like a Breezango. Or a Slayer and Rhino, or maybe some of the women on either side, they might not see a pay-per-view for 6 months.
Yeah. You'll get 2 women's matches on these pay-per-views: SmackDown Women's Title, the Raw Women's Title.
The only thing that they could do, which in my opinion would slightly improve the depth, would to be make pay-per-views 4 hours.
I think they are they not? I think there was reports of these co-branded shows being 4 hours, and then the big 4/5, if you include Money in the Bank, will go to 5 hours.
Okay.
Obviously, WrestleMania will then go to 12 hours. So,
day and a half.
There's pros and cons.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It does diminish the brand split. There's been a lot of things that has diminished it. Corey Graves being on commentary on both shows is one of them.
Yeah,
especially during this whole recent Superstar Shakeup.
They need to figure that out.
It's like he's moaning about he won't get to see Mandy Rose when technically he will.
Because she's not on SmackDown. While we're talking about commentary, a very interesting article's come out this last sort of few days about the high possibility, I think, of the WWE introducing female commentators for Raw and SmackDown. Now, we've had Lita. She did the Mae Young Classic. and we had Beth Phoenix do the mixed match challenge.
Yeah.
I want to speak about this without sounding like a sexist pig, and I think it's going to become difficult, but I'm going to try and be honest and just do it in a constructive way. I think I don't care what you are, male or female or alien, as long as you're good enough. Like, for me, WWE is the pinnacle, okay?
Yeah.
It is the best of the best. And if you are commentating on the best of the best, whether you think the wrestlers are rubbish or not, that's an opinion. The WWE is the best of the best. So you need, in my opinion, the best of the best to do it. Michael Cole is the best play-by-play. For me, Corey Graves is probably the best colour commentator.
Yeah.
So you need somebody else there. Byron Saxton, hilarious. I think he's a great buffer for stuff like that.
Tom Phillips, Corey Graves.
Tom Phillips is a fantastic
Byron
play-by-play.
Saxton.
Maro on NXT.
Yeah, but I think the SmackDown
Phenomenal.
commentary team is probably the best commentary team.
I love that commentary team.
The NXT's close second. The Raw, just.
But it's okay. At Tunga, when we had Booker, they were both terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible colour commentators. Having Coach is great because he's come from that world of. He used to be in the WWE.
Yeah, he has legitimacy.
He does because he's come from ESPN. He's now back. He's honest when he doesn't know who somebody is. He says, "Clue me in." I like him. He's attention to detail. He's interesting, and you can understand what he says. For me, if they're gonna go down this right, the only female right now that deserves a chance is Renee Young, 100%.
I agree. The only problem is with Renee Young is that she has to be play-by-play.
You think?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think you can.
You don't think she'd be a analysis?
Okay, so right. Add her to SmackDown. Add her to the SmackDown team now. Right.
Do you remember when they had a 4-man team on SmackDown? It was horrific.
Well, I got how that worked.
Was that Morrow?
Morrow recorded
Play-by-play.
the action. Tom was the host.
He did the links between,
which made sense, but it was just far
too many people. Yeah.
So if you have Renee Young and Tom Phillips, I think they'll be too similar. In my eyes, calling play-by-play.
So do you think she needs to go to NXT to kind of come back up again, almost?
I think Morrow's too good on NXT.
I would never remove him.
You need
205 maybe?
So we're assuming that if they want to add someone to the commentary position,
you replace.
Female,
you can't
have to replace, but I think you have to replace the colour commentator because I think the two people that got doing play-by-play, or technically the three, Cole, Phillips and Ranello.
So in that case...
They're good enough, but you need a colour women's commentator.
So simply because of how many jobs Corey does, and I swear he's the busiest man in WWE. Yeah. Pick a show, and put Renee in his place on either Raw. I don't think it really matters what
Corey
show.
Will stay on Raw.
I think so.
You know, and then just get a woman on SmackDown, and look, it'll probably be Beth Phoenix.
She's terrible.
But you know,
if I was to rate,
T was terrible.
I'd bring back.
But he added legitimacy because he's a 6-time world champion.
Beth Phoenix would when it comes to adding legitimacy, I have no problem with Lita or Beth Phoenix. No issue at all. They're both fantastic. They were both fantastic wrestlers. Let me finish, because I know you want to speak. Yeah. Fantastic wrestlers, but just because, like we know with Booker, just because you're a good wrestler doesn't automatically make you. Corey Graves was a decent wrestler.
Yeah.
Okay, it was horrific, really, really bad that he got injured and can never wrestle again. But who knows? Maybe he's now an awesome color commentator. Maybe he would never have got to WrestleMania. Maybe he would never got to Raw SmackDown. We don't know. We're basically shooting in the dark. So I'm saying it doesn't matter if you're good. Mauro Ranello, was he ever a great wrestler? No, probably not. No. But he's an amazing play-by-play. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It doesn't just because you're good at one thing doesn't automatically. It allows you the opportunity, and rightly so. Lita and Beth Phoenix both done it. Lita did it with the Mae Young Classic. She was okay. Beth Phoenix was so terrible in the mismatch. She was quiet. If you're going to train her up, take her to Stanford, take her to the Performance Center, sit her in front of that booth with Coach or with Cole or with someone and just practice. And I just can't, I don't feel that. I just don't see that there's any...
So there's two women that have popped into my head that I think...
Charlie Caruso?
In terms of SmackDown, I don't think, she'd be play-by-play for me.
Okay.
There's two women that popped in my head would be good colour commentators. First one, in terms of SmackDown, why not have Paige on commentary?
Well, I thought that would be...
She's a general manager, but because, Vince McMahon used to run the company, he used to be on commentary.
I thought, before she got announced to Jim, I thought having her as a commentator would actually be
have
perfect.
Her as commentator and general manager. She's on commentary. She's
always
at the front
there.
of the action.
Yeah,
if something happens in the ring, Paige can literally go, hang on, guys, 1 second, gets on the mic. This match is now going to be a tag team match.
Bit like the anonymous GM, when it the old tell up.
But have her there. Have her on commentary saying, Well, Samoa Joe's had a real good time on Raw when he's been out. Unfortunately, he's been injured, but this is the land of opportunity, so this is why we're going to put him in the title
There's pros and cons to that, but for right now, when we're looking at who it could be, I agree. I think Paige would be a fantastic
Second one,
shot.
and this is quite out there, but I'm trying to think of women that can talk, and there's not a lot of them that are retired. But what about Alundra Blaze?
She didn't mind. She was pretty confident on the mic.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, from the speeches about Hall of Fame, why not Ivory?
Yeah.
Very experienced lady.
Ivory could be a shout, yeah.
Very experienced.
But you need someone that can talk, that can get the product over, get the talent over on commentary. And there's not a lot of women that are confident enough in speaking that have retired. Yet this current generation, in 10 years' time, that's where you can have your pick of the bunch.
Yeah, I think should we for argument's sake, in 2030, I think we'll probably have quite a few women on the commentary team, and not just.
Look, we've just got our first women's ref.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
It's going to take time.
It's good, and I'm happy.
It's good that they're addressing it now.
100%, and I'm glad people like Lita, and I'm glad people like Beth Phoenix are having these opportunities because they were great wrestlers and they deserve the opportunities because they were wrestlers. But then they have to prove themselves. But I agree. If Corey Graves sucked, Corey Graves would not be doing.
It doesn't matter if you're white, you're black, you're a woman, you're a man, you're anything.
You're cross gender or whatever. It makes no difference.
If you're good enough, you're good enough. If you're not, improve.
No, I agree. There's no reason why nobody could do it. Like I said, we've just had our first woman.
There's a reason Mike Adamley's not on commentary anymore.
Jeff Harvey.
He sucked.
Was he play-by-play though, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that is absolutely my point. He's basically the bloke you'd want. He's a bloke. He's probably in his early 50s, late 40s. He's probably the kind of person that you'd want. He sucked. They got rid of him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They replaced Otunga. They replaced Booker. Why? Because they weren't that good.
Bring back Tony Schiavone. Never know.
Bring back Mike Tenay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's a great conversation. Yeah. I think it's a lot of debate. Guys, if you have any views or opinions, tweet us at DirtSheetMania, #DSM Wrestling, and we'll retweet you or block you.
We won't. We don't block.
We don't block. No one tweets us.
Freedom of speech and all that. If you call Craig an a-hole, you get an instant like.
He'll probably get a follow and a pin to the profile.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So that is our bridge segment. We got into that. I think it was quite healthy to talk about that. It was quite good. If you're good enough, doesn't matter what you are. Yeah. That's a perfect thing for life, really.
Pretty much.
That
as long as they give them the opportunities, that's a
equalarity. You need the opportunity to be able to be. Yeah. You can't.
It's a very political thing.
Oh, extremely, and it is a delicate.
As long as they're given the opportunity, you've got to be good enough.
You can't just go, you're a woman or you're mixed race or we need to give you an opportunity. We need to put you in that position. Okay, yeah, you do. Give them the opportunity. And then if they're good enough, then great. Yeah. If they're not, it doesn't matter. It's like, again, we don't want to come back to it again, but there was an argument that there should be women potentially managing men's football teams. Yeah. And I'm fine with that. Like, I think, was it her name? Hope?
Hope Howe. Yeah.
Hope Howe used to be the women's England football manager. I'm like, okay, fine. If she's good enough, then fine. That's great.
Yeah, so that's the same. We're going to be talking about football now, but there's not a lot of black football managers.
I mean, Chris Powell.
There's been calls for is it some sort of unfortunate side effect of just white managers are just there and and look, I'm not saying there's Chris Powell is a great manager.
Very good.
He deserves an opportunity, but these clubs need to give people like Chris Powell an opportunity to get employed, to give them an opportunity. A WWE will give women an opportunity to commentate, to become wrestlers, to become managers, to become whatever, general managers, anything they like, because this is what WWE is now. They're like an equal opportunity company. They're in Saudi Arabia, which is obviously a bad business for them in terms of the fact they can't have female talent over there. But Saudi Arabia are starting to change things, and WWE will be on the forefront of that. They're leading by example.
Well, they broke down the Abu Dhabi thing with Alexa Bliss and Sasha Banks.
Exactly.
They were respectful in their gear. They covered themselves. Yeah. From neck down, basically. So as long as you do it in a right way, like they did with that Alexa and Sasha match, what happened in the match is almost irrelevant. The fact that they were there and wrestling is incredible, and that's. Like you say in Saudi Arabia, it's a shame there's no women on the card. But if you want to break down those barriers, you kind of have to start a relationship with them and then kind of go in gently. which I think, and that's why we can criticize WWE for other things, but for what they do in regards to a positive outset, stuff like Tribute to the Troops and things like that, I think, there's no better company to do it.
No, of course not.
So, well done, WWE. So, yes, lovely. Let's talk about SmackDown, yeah?
Let's talk about SmackDown.
Here comes SmackDown. I need to lie down. SmackDown Live, we've got some newbies coming from Raw. One from NXT?
Two from NXT.
Well, technically two. Yeah, two from NXT. Oh, no.
NXT.
No, that's a lie. That's a massive lie. 5 from NXT.
Yeah, 5. Yeah.
5 from NXT, a couple from Raw.
NXT tonight to find out if they still have a roster left.
Well, yeah, I mean, what generally tends to happen when they have these superstar shakeups from Raw, the people that go from Raw and SmackDown, they're on the tapings for the next quarter.
Yeah.
And then they disappear. Sometimes on purpose, sometimes they just fade out. So straight off the bat, we already know Miz is on SmackDown. We don't see him tonight. We see him in the backstage, holding the, like a selfie camera thingy that they've been doing, which is all right. And Maurice is with him as well. So Maurice may be with him on SmackDown. Interesting.
Yeah, you won't see Maurice for a bit, but she'll be there.
It looked like he was at home.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine they leave the newborn this quickly.
No.
Maybe after a year or 6 months. But
I know we're on SmackDown, but there was a few talent that went over to Raw, like in a supplemental pick, like Mike Bennett went over, Zack Ryder, Mojo.
Weird that
Chad
they moved
Gable.
Yeah, Chad's on his own now. Yeah, he's gone from SmackDown.
So
Shelton's on his own then.
Yeah, is it
Mike Kanellis went.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they moved Mojo and Zack together.
These are just people for Braun Strowman to destroy when they've got nothing for him to do.
So. Or Drew and Dolph. Very deepy. Because after SmackDown, there was no here's the rest of the people.
Yeah, that we're led to believe. We've searched Twitter and everything like that.
Because I thought we'd missed something, but we haven't.
No.
So what we see on SmackDown is what we get.
Yeah.
Which is good for transparency, but in regards to who's coming, who's gone, not so good. Shelton Benjamin, he comes out, he wants competition. He has said that now he's on his own, he never needed a tag team partner. He was just there. Chad was good.
His Twitter got hacked.
Did again?
Yeah, his Twitter got hacked apparently. So he was obviously congratulating Chad Gable on going over to Raw. He said he didn't mean it. It's this good little promo. I mean, Shelton's promos have never been, I can't even remember a good Shelton promo, but
that's why he had his mama doing for him.
Yeah, exactly. I did actually sit there thinking at this point, I don't remember you had a mama.
Have you seen Ride Along this week?
No.
Okay, so him and Chad are on Ride Along, which is odd, and the New Day do it for like the third time. One of the things that I didn't realise with Shelton Benjamin, did you know how long the Team Angle gimmick ran for?
2 years?
I think it was just over 18 months.
Yeah.
Do you know how long the Mama one lasted for?
7 months.
8 weeks.
Oh, 8 weeks?
8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
From start to finish.
Wow.
Shelton's words. Not mine.
Wow. Jesus.
8 weeks. And yet people remember
Shelton's Mama.
Yeah. But again, he got an IC title run out of that. So.
Yeah, look, saying his promo on SmackDown, it was good. I suppose the experience helps here.
I'm glad, because originally he got signed, I think, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But he got a massive injury.
Yeah.
And then had to reprove it. Well, he has to prove himself, but get fit again. So Shelton wants competition. Out comes the Viper, and almost top trumping him. Out comes Jeff Hardy.
Out comes the Viper, and I was like, this is very, very OVW here, isn't it? From like 2002, like they're part of the same class.
Him, Brock, Cena.
That was 16 years ago.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Shelton's been backwards and forwards, and Randy's never left.
Yeah.
But Jeff Hardy, with the United States title, is on SmackDown.
Once this happened yesterday on Raw, Jeff winning the United States title from Jinder, I did think Jeff was more likely to go over to SmackDown with the title rather than Seth.
I agreed.
So
they put on a nice little shindig. Jeff getting the win. Jeff Swanton bombs these days. He does the Swanton and he lands on his back on top of them instead of rolling off like he used to.
Yeah.
It looks like it hurts more.
Which is good. But
not for them.
Not for them. No.
Not for them.
Nah.
There's a few we're going to rattle off now because on Raw we had a debut or a return or a draft and then they did something. On SmackDown, not so much.
No.
So we're going to rattle a few off here. Absolution are back on... Well, I say they're back, but they're back with Paige almost.
Yes.
We'll see.
We'll see how this... I think Paige will absolutely just not get rid of... She'll just shed all ties from them. I see Paige as a babyface general manager.
I see her as a heel in the future.
In the future, yeah.
I think she'll be a phenomenal heel once she's established.
These two are just... maybe just add someone else to the group or something. I don't know who you could add in terms of this on the show.
Charlotte,
Becky.
Depends who wants to be a heel. Yeah. Becky Hilltown wouldn't be the worst thing.
We've been talking about it for a while, but so they've been called out. I just hope they're not some sort of Paige's lackeys or Paige is still involved with them somehow. I'm
sorry to say it, but time will tell. I know it's a sitting on the old fancy, but time will tell. Regardless, music change. 100%. Definitely needs it now more than any time. If they're going to be on the same bloody show. Sin Cara's in the ring. He's going to face someone. Who's he going to face? Samoa Joe. Joe. Hi, Joe. So Joe, as we've said, is going to go for the Raw Intercontinental Champion. I know it's not the Raw, but the Raw Intercontinental title at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and then potentially he will be facing the the Universal Champion in Roman Reigns at Backlash. So, like you said,
he beat Sin Cara quite convincingly. Killed him.
He just killed him.
Looked legit. That's the thing with Joe. He looks legit, and he literally doesn't pull any punches.
No, legit.
In his promo after, again, great promo. I thought he messed up when he said, "Not only will I be Intercontinental Champion," I was like, "Hang on, you're facing Roman. He's got a Universal title." I was like, "Oh yes, no, he has a fatal 4-way at the Greatest Royal Rumble."
Samoa Joe was
smart. Which hasn't really been advertised a lot. Intercontinental, which that's WWE's fault then, right? Why haven't they advertised the fact that Joe's going to be in this Intercontinental fatal 4-way?
Yeah, sad. He won't win either of them, but fair play to Joe. He's making. Thing is, though, Joe can only like we've said before on the other side of things. Like I've knocked Joe and why Roman hasn't picked faults in Joe, but at the same time, Joe can only do what's in front of him.
Yeah.
Here's something, make it work. Joe is doing his absolute best to make it work, and like we said before, he's legit.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad he's. And
he wants AJ Styles.
He wants AJ Styles.
He wants all the belts.
Yeah, he wants them all.
Joey 3 belts.
Yeah, but I'm glad he's on SmackDown. He fits the, he adds
land of opportunity, land of everybody getting something.
Yeah. So, but he's a heel. He's a heel that SmackDown needed. Shinsuke's a different kind of heel. He's a bit sort of a comedic.
Me not speaking English
at the moment. But we won't get Joe versus Nakamura for a bit. But now they're on the same show. That could potentially happen. The NXT matches were phenomenal.
Yummy. Yeah, they were, weren't they?
You got Brian versus Joe, AJ versus Joe. You know, there's loads. Even Randy Orton versus Joe. You know.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that. We get R-Truth's on Raw.
Yeah.
R-Truth backstage with Ty Dillinger and the New Day. Said he's on Raw. He's not. He's on SmackDown. Yeah. He's not been around on Raw for a long time.
He's been injured, I think, hasn't he?
Oh, is he? Yeah. Okay. Well, do you know what? Whatever he does, it's always good to see R-Truth.
Yeah.
Who's about 50 odd now somewhere.
Yeah.
He just looks like a spring chicken. We will be seeing Almas and Selena Vega. They are coming to SmackDown. The former NXT champion, who I assume will get his rematch. Because this happens again with the next sort of quarter.
I've not seen any NXT spoilers, but you assume.
I hate
I assume they'll get a rematch.
Mm-hmm. I hope she wrestles.
Yeah, I do. I don't think she'll wrestle for a bit. I think she'll stick around as Almas's manager for a bit. Mate, I hope she gets involved in matches. Be interesting to see how they
on the main roster, because under the Triple H jurisdiction, she absolutely gets those Hurricanranas in very regularly, almost like once a match really for Almas. So we'll see if that happens.
Hopefully it happens, but she might end up wrestling 6 months down the line. We thought this year would end up wrestling on NXT to begin with.
She didn't, but she had a few brawls with Candice. But
that's probably just because Almas has been called up. That's why we went. We're not going to see it now. So
we will be seeing. I said one woman we won't be seeing appears we won't be seeing Nikki Cross, but Sanity, Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf, and Eric Young, Team TNA at the moment on SmackDown, are on SmackDown.
I think we talked about Sanity getting called up at one point, but we talked about Killian Dane possibly being the one that stays down because he's a big name and they can build him up as a singles wrestler. And then trade him up.
But they've kept Nikki Cross.
And they probably kept Nikki Cross because they've just called up Peyton Royce and Billy Kay.
That's true.
Did they call up anyone on Raw?
Well,
Ember Moon. So they've lost three girls from the women's roster on NXT.
It's a little bit almost when they called up Big Cass and Enzo and they kept Carmella.
Yeah.
And it was like, we just need her to stay down there. It's a little like when they called out Becky, Sasha and Charlotte but kept Bayley. It's almost like Triple H has had to kind of argue to get... Yeah. It's like when they called up everyone but kept Asuka.
Yeah.
It's almost like that they want to maybe go down the line of putting the belt on Nikki at some point.
Yeah.
But they've had to keep her there for now.
Well, if you think about like Shayna Baszler being the women's champion over on NXT, what person do you think could legit take her from her? Nikki Cross, because she's crazy.
She's a nutcase.
Yeah.
And she is, I think she'll still be associated with Sanity. And I think when she comes onto the main roster, unlike they did with Carmella, they just completely almost ignored the fact that she never was with Cass and Enzo.
Yeah.
I think they will, because they all have unique music.
Yeah.
But it's almost
they do.
modified.
Yeah.
So upset for her, but we're going off the graphic.
Yeah.
It's unlikely it's wrong.
It's very unlikely. I think I've seen other things as well saying that Sanity without Nikki Cross have been called up. But yeah, so there's a lot of different things here. Killian Dane's showed on NXT what he could do, and some of the matches he's probably going to have with the talent. Killian Dane versus Samoa Joe again. Two hard hitting people.
Stand back, lads.
Yeah, SmackDown. And we'll probably talk about this at the end, but I think SmackDown's probably got the better end of this shake-up.
From the shows, I thought Raw was a better show, but just because
in terms of talent,
but we won't really understand the players and how they'll be used, and the almost chest pieces and how they'll be used until probably a couple of weeks after Backlash.
Yeah,
because we can almost momentum-wise through WrestleMania, through to the Greatest Royal Rumble, and then through to Backlash. That will probably carry us through. It's not until we kind of settle down a little and then we're on the run to SummerSlam from Backlash. That's when we'll sort of see what's what and how Paige is, how the new dynamic on SmackDown is, the Superstar Shakeup and things like that. There's two more newbies. One is the Bar. They're on SmackDown now.
They are now on SmackDown.
It's the Bar versus Usos, please. The Bar versus New Day, please. The Bar versus Sanity, please.
So this is what we're talking about.
Please.
So loads of people have gone over to Raw. The Ascension actually is another team that went from SmackDown to Raw.
They did, Conor and Victor, yeah.
So,
but they've gone with the fashion, please.
Yeah. on Raw, there's a lot of, like I said, on Raw, there's quantity over on Raw in terms of tag teams. On Raw, on SmackDown, there's quality. There's 4 or 5 big teams. Obviously, the Bar it freshens it a whole lot. Even though like Gallows and Anderson are also coming over from SmackDown to Raw. Sorry, from Raw to SmackDown.
Are they coming over?
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Have you just found? When did you see that?
It was on the show, Craig.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, AJ's got his club back.
Yeah, AJ's got his club out.
AJ's got his.
Finn's lost his. That's what. Yeah. Anyway.
Really? Oh, mate, I must have missed something.
Yeah, you missed it, you donut.
Sleepy time.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think.
But there's one more.
The Bar being on SmackDown adds quality to the SmackDown tag division. SmackDown's probably going to need more of the quality over quantity because of the time. Because it's 2 hours. I didn't
know that about Gaz Hansen, but I'm absolutely delighted because I think I'd love to see them Usos, them Bar, well, we've seen Bar, them New Day. I mean, they had the belts.
There's 5. There's like 5 tag teams on SmackDown.
But they're all bloody brilliant.
And they're all bloody brilliant. And you can even possibly add Rusev and Aiden English into that.
You could.
So there's 6 big tag teams there. Like,
I'd count them.
Yeah.
So anyway, the other person that debuted, and as long as I'm not missing anyone, Kieran, please let me know.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Goldberg's been traded to SmackDown. Sting is now on Raw.
Sting was always on Raw.
Screaming Norman Smiley is now Cruiserweight champion.
Jesus. He can't wait. He must be more than 2. The other one was interrupting Daniel Bryan backstage. Because let me say AJ got beat down by Rusev and English. Bryan made the save but made a tag for later on, and when Charlie was asking Bryan, Renee, apologies, when Renee was asking Bryan, why did he save AJ Styles, Big Cass Now, from what happens later on with the tag, which we'll talk about now, I don't think they needed this. I would have been far more shocked and surprised and impactful to not have this small little 30 seconds where Big Cass just walks up to Brian and goes, boogie, 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 and then walks off again.
Yeah.
Just to have Big Cass in the ring in the middle of this main event tag, because Nakamura gives AJ a low blow on the apron in the middle of this main event tag.
Very well done again.
Just perfect.
He looked like he wanted to copy Phil as well.
Held it there for ages.
Yeah. Oh, left side of the ball, right side of the ball today.
There's the middle. And then you have Brian turn around, Big Cass, big boot.
Yeah.
We don't know because I've looked at his Twitter. His Twitter says Colin Cassidy.
Yeah, I think they're trying to trademark Colin Cassidy or something like that.
Because I think they want to get as far away as possible from the Enzo Big Cass.
There were "We Want Enzo" chants on SmackDown.
Was there?
Yeah, when he come out.
So nobody wants Enzo.
Earlier we talked about the Miz having people and
friends.
Yeah.
And just to say, because Nakamura and Big Cass both interrupted, it doesn't mean they're together, and it would appear they're not.
No.
And I tell you what, you're going to say what you're going to say in a minute, and I won't spoil that. But I believe in this because of what happened. Why would Big Cass attack Daniel Bryan? It's so weird. It's so completely unnecessary.
So Miz will likely get someone to help him because that's Miz's gimmick.
I wonder who that might be.
But as obviously, I think I said this a couple of weeks ago with Big Cass possibly returning. Could Miz do with someone else in the group, and Big Cass being 7 foot tall. Just remember, Craig,
you can't teach that.
You can't teach height. Remember that.
You can't teach height.
Yeah.
Can't teach.
Doesn't make sense, Craig. Being 7 foot tall and you can't teach that doesn't make sense.
Well, neither does. You don't make sense.
Shut your face.
Keep. Love you.
But Big Cass being part of the Miz Taraj, which I thought would have been on Raw, what I thought would have been a great dynamic, having an actual, rather having two people that jump about and just take the bullet for the Miz, having someone that can cause damage would have been even better. But now, possibly, maybe next week, you'll see the Miz becoming friends with Big Cass.
Oh, I think secretly they already are. I think. Why would Big? I think that would be Miz's master plan. Is that why would I be there when I've got this big guy? Yeah. I think it really does. It's a little bit. It's not the same as Dolph and Drew, but it's similar to Dolph and Drew. Yeah. I think that will happen. Yeah, I really do.
And the thing is, as well with Big Cass, it's not like he's not a bad wrestler. He's agile enough to put on a good match. It's not like you're facing a Mark Henry or a or a Kane or a Big Show.
I remember first seeing him in NXT with Enzo, and I remember thinking, okay, we'll see. But he's just got better and better and better. When Enzo got injured, when he was on for a little bit, he was on his own when he was a babyface. He had to do promos, and you could see him getting better and better and better. Yeah. So glad that he's around.
And having someone like the Miz with him will help him.
Advice as well. Miz has been doing this for a hell of a long time now. Two other things before we call it a day for a Dirtship Mania episode 12. We had Luke Harper versus Jey Uso. It all breaks down eventually, and Naomi kind of comes out. The Bludgeon Brothers, they step away. I said, well, Luke Harper steps away and grabs Eric Rowan by the beard and goes, no. So I don't. They're obviously acknowledging even more and more and more after the mixed match challenge that Naomi is with. But
that makes sense, does it not, Craig? It makes sense. Like
it does.
So, like last week when Charlotte was getting hell beat out of Carmella. Mm-hmm. Sorry, by the Iconic duo or the Iconics.
The Iconics.
Where was Becky to save her? Right. I don't know if you've seen the video. It's quite funny.
But, she's eating some sweet
quinoa or something.
Yeah, and she
quinoa. That's how you say it. Quinoa.
Yes.
There's another video that come out last night of her eating some quinoa and then seeing Charlotte getting beaten down and she runs out.
She legs it, yeah. I see. It's the caption is unseen footage from last night. Yeah.
So,
but then, that makes sense. That makes sense. But it's just interesting. Like, I mean, you'd like to think they're not going to do it for no reason. Maybe the Bludgeon Brothers will add a woman.
Nikki Cross. Look, it makes sense that Naomi getting involved. To me, it just makes sense. Why wouldn't you? In real life,
your husband's getting beaten up. Your wife wants to be there to. She can't. She probably could protect him, but she wants to make sure he's okay. Yeah. First and foremost. And the last thing to happen, we've just always touched upon it there with Sasha, with the save being made. Carmella was having a Calibration?
Melibration?
Sounds like something you catch. Like melanoma? I kept thinking she's having a melanoma celebration. Is that like food poisoning?
I don't know, mate.
It sounded like a disease. Nonetheless. Charlotte obviously come out. The Iconics came out. Before you know it, we're having a big old smooze. 3-on-1. Becky finished her bowl of whatever. Melanoma.
Quinoa.
What is quinoa? What is quinoa?
I don't know.
No, okay.
It's green, I think, so I tend to stay well away from it.
Yeah, as long as it's beige.
Hashtag team fat.
I'm not. Speak for your bloody self.
Oh, yeah. Some of us don't swim every day.
It's just a way of life.
Swimming.
Dick. Take. Steady on.
Oh, he does dive in.
Oh, he does. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna take a bet now.
Michael Phelps.
Take a bet. Yeah, okay, Michael Phelps. Take that one. He's really good though. You've just associated me with someone that's amazing. Thanks, mate.
I don't know any rubbish. What was the? There was a swimmer at the Olympics once that literally.
Oh, Eric the Eel.
Yeah. Okay. Like 3 minutes or something. Yeah,
Eric the Eel.
You're Eric the Eel.
He's in a heat of 3 people. I can't believe we're talking about this. So he's in a heat with 3 people. They both DNF'd. They both jumped before and they got disqualified. So all he had to do was swim to there and back, and he was through.
He almost didn't make it as well.
That's so knackered. Apparently, that was the first time I'd ever been in a pool. I don't know. Eric the Eel. It's a big old schmooze. Iconics came out. Becky came out. It was then Charlotte versus Billie Kay.
Yeah. Good match?
Yeah. I mean, Billie, we know, can wrestle.
Yeah.
Again, she was the one that was given the opportunity, I believe, in the Andre the Giant. The Women's Battle Royale.
No, that was Peyton Royce.
Thank you very much.
Billie Kay's been on SmackDown before, though.
Has she?
She has been on SmackDown before.
Oh, did she have a really random squash match?
Random squash.
While she was in NXT?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was against.
Could have been Charlotte, really.
Could have been Charlotte.
And after all that, this 2-on-3, my apologies, and we end up with the newest woman on the SmackDown roster. She's officially now on SmackDown, and that is the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka.
See, I was thinking who they were going to call up at this point, or they're going to trade in, and I was like, Bayley, Sasha. I really didn't.
Could it be Nikki from NXT? Could she then be on SmackDown, but not with Sanity, but interrupting this?
So it makes sense. It was Asuka. Asuka hasn't been on. She hasn't been on the Raw after Mania, the SmackDown after Mania, and she hasn't been on.
I saw a tweet from her. I don't know if you saw that. It was after Raw though. I was like, she's on SmackDown.
Yeah.
It was like half her hair's blue, half her hair's red.
Yeah.
I was like, you're definitely on SmackDown.
Yeah. So
big players though. Asuka and Charlotte on SmackDown.
The reason why Asuka's on SmackDown, and the reason why Charlotte's on SmackDown, is to keep them away from Ronda. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
That's having Asuka, having Charlotte, having Becky,
all as babies.
So
Becky has to turn heel.
Potentially. You've got obviously Naomi there. And then you've got obviously the Iconics, and then you've got Carmella.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of good women now.
Yeah,
for me, the Iconic
Absolution. I think that's 9.
That's
9 women. Now.
Yeah,
so that's quite good. Again, still lacks depth on SmackDown.
Yeah, but 9 for one division, for one title.
It adds. Yeah, I think it's a good division.
Plus Selena Vega.
That's
10.
Maurice, maybe. Never.
No. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Lana. We've still got Lana there.
Lana. Wow.
So technically, there's 12 women on that.
That's 6 tag teams.
That's a bit.
That's 6 tag teams.
That's not happening. It's depth, and it's not as deep as it could be, but there's quality there.
There is quality over quantity. Yeah. Right. I'm hungry. You're hungry. You've got work. I have to go back to work. That's what it's like trying to do Dirt Shit Mania with Kieran and me. It's busy. The intern, Jamie Smith, nearly did so, didn't he?
He nearly did too.
We were going to do it this evening, and Kieran was otherwise engaged.
Yes.
And nearly me and Jam did it. So you're probably going to hear the intern at some point very soon. We're going to do a 3-way podcast, like a 3-man booth on SmackDown.
I like to say I'm not interested in doing a 3-way with my brother.
And me?
Not you, no.
Okay, I like the fact you didn't say me, you just said Jamie, so I'm kind of open to that.
I've heard things about you.
Yeah. Who wants the foot long?
You've got melanoma or something.
Guys, that's been Dirt Shit Mania episode 12. I've been the chief, he's been the director. Say thank you, Kieran.
Thank you, Kieran.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you caught on to that. Episode 12. Thank you very much, guys. Don't forget, follow us on SoundCloud. Go onto the YouTube page. We've always got videos and content coming up on YouTube. Probably the most regular, I'd say, of all of our social media outputs. Again, Facebook, Twitter, they're all there. These shows will be on iTunes and SoundCloud. I'm going to go and try and edit these now. We'll see if we can get these out by tonight.
We'll have a few videos coming out in the next couple of months. Maybe if I Can Be Serious.
That needs to be back.
It needs to be back.
I love I Can Be Serious.
But now I think we'll do that after everything's settled down.
After the Greatest Rumble and Backlash.
After Backlash.
Yeah.
Just at the moment, in terms of wrestling, in terms of our lives, everything is up in the air.
It's mental. I now live 20 minutes away instead of 2 minutes away. So it does make it slightly more difficult. Guys, that's been DSM 12. Cheers, Kieran. I'm Craig. We'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.
It's Rusev Day!